Hello, welcome back to YCFT. We are talking about a monster movie today that might as well just be Jaws, but with another animal. And I've got with me here, I have a tiny alligator called Carl.
Cool.
To help us talk about a film about a giant alligator who's not called Carl. We are talking about 1980s Alligator and its sequel, Alligator II, The Mutation.
Yes.
From 1991. Bit of a jump 91. There.
Yeah, hell of a
Spoiler
jump
alert here, there's no mutation.
No, there isn't really. In any way. There is not.
We've already done the comparison of Jaws. Between the two films, they do pick apart everything from Jaws and use it.
You replace Jaws with an alligator and it's pretty much like it's the same.
Yeah, I actually stumbled across this one on Shudder and I just had a great time. I remember I was cooking dinner while watching it.
You just wanted something on as background.
Something on as background, and I just watched the movie.
Yeah,
and then I watched it again with you, and then we watched it a third time for a video. So I've watched this film 3 times this year.
You were so excited by the first time you watched it. You were like, "Oh, I'll happily watch it again tonight." Yeah. You wanted to watch it again.
Yeah, it was really good. I had a good time watching it. It's cheap and cheerful.
Oh, I really like this film.
But it's a lot of fun. And do you have any notes, any backstory on this first one?
I do. So it's directed by a guy called Louis Teague. It's written by John Sayles. And it stars Robert Forster, who is a very famous character actor. He died only very recently. And should we talk about plot initially?
Yeah, because the plot is actually... This film has a way better plot than it has any right to.
Right, yeah, exactly. So we start with a baby alligator is purchased as a pet for a little girl.
After seeing this little girl and her family at the all-fun family event of crocodile wrestling, or alligator wrestling.
Yes.
I'm going to mix up crocodiles and alligators throughout the entirety of this, so let's just accept that. But yeah, that is apparently what they do for fun. But yeah, they get an alligator as a pet.
I don't know why would you purchase a little baby alligator as a pet? But
bites the dad's finger and he flushes it down the toilet. Many, many years later.
Dad flushes it down the toilet, it ends up in the sewers. Many years later, it's still living in the sewers. However, there is some kind of science lab that is nearby, and they are experimenting on animal growth hormones. And doing a lot of trying and testing, and to test it, they're using dogs, different breeds of dogs. And whenever it doesn't quite work, the carcasses are very surreptitiously disposed in the sewers.
They get their carcasses, they can get carcasses officially, but at the rate that their employer wants it done by, they're not getting the regular enough, so they resort to kidnapping pets.
Yes, theft.
And that's why the carcasses that aren't obtained legally by whoever provides carcasses to research centres.
You know that job?
They have to be disposed of. And they have a guy that works at a pet store that sorts them animals. So all these animals that have been pumped through with growth hormones have been put in the sewer where this alligator's been for the past 20 years or something.
20 years, yeah. Like this normal sized alligator has been dwelling, and then he starts munching on these bodies, and of course he so many degrees of separation, but he ends up obviously ingesting the growth hormone himself. Yeah. And then he grows to be 36 feet in length. It's a big gator. Yeah.
People start going missing, they keep finding bits of it. Robert Forster's character sees it
Forster
because he goes down there. He has a bit of a checker past, people don't quite... His partner was killed.
Well, he's a cop.
He's a cop, but his partner was killed. People think that he might have shot him.
I think he kind of has a reputation of being unlucky, I think, because his partner was killed on the job. So there's this running joke, I guess, within the force that people consider him to be unlucky. No one wants to be his partner. Yeah. Again.
Well, the first partner he gets in this, we're just going to spoil this film, and it's almost its entirety because there's not that much to spoil. Yeah. Really, it's a very stereotypical monster movie.
It is. It is.
The person the rookie who agreed to be his partner dies almost instantly in the sewers. Yeah. And he's then trying to convince people
there's a fucking alligator in the sewers. And of course, no one will believe him. So a good part, first half of this film is Forster. Its character's called David Madison, trying to get the force to believe him, trying to get scientists to believe him. Everyone is saying, no, it's not possible. Even if there is a gator down there, it could not be as big as you say it is.
Yeah, he managed to get romantically entangled with the now woman who had... I don't know if she ever clocks her alligator.
She never finds out. That's never acknowledged, but it is the same girl, just obviously, 20 years later.
She now studies alligators.
She now studies alligators.
Reptiles. So,
yeah.
To be fair, the cops do search the sewers.
They do go down there.
But he ain't there anymore.
Nah.
I will give this, like,
nah.
When the alligator is first shown in all his glory, he is a massive animatronic puppet, and they do have shots of a real alligator.
Yeah, they do.
For certain silent shots, which is a little bit jarring because the real life alligator is clearly a lot smaller than the big one. When he first he bursts through the concrete onto the streets, and no one in this movie dies in the same way.
No, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, they get a big game. To be fair, like unlike with Jaws, there's not like a fair or something like that that is under threat. The police do try and track down this alligator, especially once he's out in the open. And they hire a big game hunter to try and take him out.
I guess you could say in Jaws, though, that the mayor desperately wants his 4th of July weekend to go ahead because he knows it's the busiest time with the beach. He does not want to close the beach. So I guess you could say that Jaws, like, the stakes are high and that they desperately need the beaches to be open for this particular weekend.
It's just so much fun.
It actually is a really fun film.
It's a stupidly fun movie, and just... Honestly, so we have scientists doing experiments on things they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Like people's pets. Funded by a greedy rich man who just wants to be more rich.
Yes.
Who is also paying off the chief of police to allow this to keep going. And obviously, and then you've got like the cop story and the alligator as well. It's like, the plot is way better than it has any... right to be. If anything, I think it's a more complex plot than Jaws is.
It probably is.
It's just...
I mean...
what's his name, the critic?
The critic. Roger Ebert.
What was Ebert's review of this?
I did not like it. He said something, didn't he? Like, if only this film could be flushed down the toilet.
And come out a better movie.
Oh, that's harsh.
Yeah, I had
Fuck Roger Ebert.
Fun. Yeah, he doesn't understand this genre.
I really like the fact that basically, for a large part, this is a police procedural film.
Yeah.
Which I was not expecting in a creature feature monster movie. We have a lot of scenes with Madison in the police headquarters. It's a little bit unclear where this is set. You could be forgiven for thinking it's New York or Chicago, but I think at some point you see number plates and it's like Missouri or somewhere.
That's in the trivia, isn't it? It's really unclear where this is.
It's unclear where, but I mean... Forster's accent, he's kind of, like this city cop, and he's kind of, as you would imagine, like a gruff New York cop to be. Like, he smokes, and he's very kind of beleaguered, and he's kind of cool, he wears his gun, like, the holster, and they're all drinking coffee. Like, I don't know, I love scenes like that. I love seeing police headquarters in America, especially back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And yet there's also, like, a weird scene, isn't there, near the beginning, which actually doesn't really serve the plot, but a guy that comes in, and he's got what... he says it's a bomb.
That's literally to show how crazy the place is. For eventually for them to use the fake bomb into a real bomb. Just like
a standard day in the life of a cop in America.
It's kind of like when you put on RoboCop and it's like the hyper-realistic craziness of the life as a cop in Chicago.
We also get you mentioned it, a charming love story between him and...
Not really necessary.
Marissa.
Not really needed, but it's fun. It's nice.
It's quite fun. I like their characters together.
Yeah, he's kicked off the force because of... Obviously, the chief is corrupt as fuck.
Yeah.
And they're like, the big game hunter does not do very well.
He does not last long, and he is such a fucking horrible, pompous character. Like, he's so... Oh, I don't know, like, very chauvinist and, like, calls Marissa, the reptile expert, a little girl.
Yeah.
You stay out of this, like, leave it to me.
They're building him up for him to get...
It's a good kill, actually.
This film, again, another Jaws club. They murked a kid in this film.
Oh, they did? Yeah, in the swimming pool.
Yeah, it's a kid's party, and these kids push a kid into the pool, and there's alligator there, and you see a pool of blood. It's like, they went for it.
Yeah.
This film, it's got no right to be as good as it is.
I know.
And it's when you get to the eventual, like, there's a massacre at, like,
the
rich person's house, and it's like, I don't know if it's like a wedding or something like that.
It's a wedding, yeah.
Wedding for his daughter. And again... That's when you see the full model, which is clearly the model like on some wheels being pushed along. But The stunts are in full swing.
Oh, everyone goes for it.
Everyone goes for it, and no one dies in the same way.
No.
I also look. There's Kane Hodder had a role.
Kane Hodder
had a role with some of the prosthetics, didn't he? Like the special effects.
He's in the suit.
He's in the suit
in the wedding rampage.
Yeah, and someone who is an assistant when the spoilers, I guess, the alligator is eventually defeated. Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Walter White.
The dad and Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah. He was part of the team that worked on that scene, so it was one of the first roles that he did.
He was a production assistant. His job, he said, was to plough in the blood and the guts pump it into the alligator for when it inevitably explodes.
That was cool.
Very similar to Jaws.
Yeah, I do when they're down in the sewers and you keep cutting between like the real footage of an alligator.
Oh,
side on in this tunnel that they've obviously built for this.
Well, there's also shots as well where I think is it bigatures?
Yeah.
And they had a normal sized alligator, just like an alligator walking around these bigature sets, but you can kind of tell.
Yeah, it still works.
It honestly really does work. I mean,
its body count is pretty high because they go to like the rivers, the lakes with boats. They're throwing dynamite in. They're shooting at it. The cops, Eustace says they try. They do actually try, and a lot of them lose limbs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like this film does not. Like obviously the danger that this alligator has compared to Jaws is it can go on land.
Yes, exactly. And we also have a reporter character who has a weird relationship with Madison. He's very kind of hostile with him and taunts him about his dead partner. And anyway, the reporter, it does his duty and he goes down into the sewers to try and get proof because if there is an alligator down there, he wants to be the first journalist to get, get the scoop. So he goes down, gets eaten by the gator.
But that does provide the proof they need to get the cops
down
there.
Because they find the photos. They find the photos, which is also something that appears in Jaws 2.
Yeah. And I just like... I'm just going to keep saying it. It's way better than it has any right to be. Look, the actors are good. The characters are good. The score is good. Like the fact, the film's on the cheap side, but I think they do the best with the type of budget that they have.
It's anchored.
Even if the scale of the alligator does change rapidly throughout the movie.
That's it. It is anchored by some really interesting performances. Like no one is bad, and there's a lot of interesting characters here that it holds your attention. And regardless of the Jaws comparisons, it is just a fun film to watch in and of itself. The effects are really cool. Like, you see bodies within the mouth of the gator. You see it chomping away. You see blood flying everywhere. You see limbs coming off. Yeah. Like, they really went to town with the special effects.
Yeah, over the top. See, all the stunt guys, half of them are doing backflips like they've been hit by a tail.
Oh, yeah.
It's just crazy.
It's absolute carnage. So the budget was $2 million and the box office was $6 million.
It made money.
I mean, $6 million back in 1980 is nothing to laugh at.
Yeah.
At all. I must admit, I hadn't heard of it until you told me about it.
I had heard of it. I knew of its existence.
Yeah.
I think I'd heard someone talk about it on a documentary. And I just put it on. And say, if anyone has Shudder, go check it out. Because obviously it's on there.
It did pretty well, and then it still took 11 years for a sequel to be made.
Yeah. Interestingly, the sequel was... I didn't realise this. It was a made-for-TV movie.
It seems so, yeah. For some reason, it's a bit confusing as to what platform this film was actually made for. Like, did it get a theatrical release? Was it just limited, or was it always made to be for TV?
Box office numbers.
We can't find box office numbers.
It's weird that I'm just going to say straight out, this is the inferior movie. But somehow it has the better poster and it's had the Scream Factory.
It does have the better poster. The
poster's great. There's no mutation.
Yes.
It's another police procedural. It kind of rehashes a lot of the first one. Again, I really like the characters. Do you have the characters from this one?
Yeah, I've got a few. So we've got David Hodges, who is the main detective in this one, although I don't have the actor's name. But yeah, a similar character, but very different to Madison from the first film. Different personality. This guy, Hodges, he's a family man. He's got a lovely wife. He's got, is it a son?
Yeah.
His wife, by the way, is Dee Wallace, who is a horror film veteran.
Yeah.
At this stage, although she's
criminally underused.
Really, yeah. She's in the beginning and then like a little bit at the end. But he's very much a family man, and he takes it upon himself to investigate, because we start the film where 2 divers are eaten. And that kind of kicks off the chain of events in this film.
But the main plot of this is about this is the Jaws members. They don't want to shut anything down because there is actually a fair.
Yeah.
And it's about the rich guy in the area wanting to buy up the land from the Mexican proportion of the people.
He's called Vinny.
So he can then upsell it.
He wants to make condos.
Yeah, and
he's a real estate dickhead.
I think my issue with this film is you can take the alligator out of it, and you still just have a primetime TV cop and corruption plot. It still works. I think the plot works. It's just the alligator bit feels a bit shoehorned. They even reuse footage from the first movie.
They shamelessly reuse footage.
We're not talking like Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2's use of reused footage. Come back in December to find out about that. But it's like the shots that we talked about when it's the alligator sideways on in the sewers.
It's just, it's the same
I think there's a couple of shots of the alligator's eye, is what the close-up on the eye they're using. It's like, well, at that point, that's 11-year-old footage. By the time it was probably filmed like in 79, I imagine. So nearly 20-year-old footage you're reusing for TV. Yeah. The alligator also is never at the scale as he was in the original one. He's actually fairly normal size.
Well, it's all you kind of forget that this is a film about an alligator, because we don't really he's not around as much. They tend to focus a bit more on the real estate side of it, and then like the budding friendship between Hodges and this younger cop that he ends up sort of teaming up with.
That bit I like. And I like a good buddy cop story.
Yeah, and then we've got you've got this real estate dickhead he's trying to buy out homeowners to make condos, and he's in cahoots with the city mayor. Both of them corrupt as hell. And also mayors in films, like mayors are always portrayed as dicks. Yeah.
I mean, you are from Liverpool and your mayor was literally arrested.
Alright, that's by the by.
For shredding documents.
I'm not glossing over it, but I'm glossing over it.
And wasn't that over a housing thing as well?
Moving on.
And wasn't he replaced by a woman with the exact same name as him?
I was thinking more of the mayor in Jaws as well. Linking it back to Jaws, you have him who's also corrupt and who's trying to like hush away this fact that we've got a bloody big great white shark in the middle of our waters. Mayors for some reason are always just portrayed in particular ways. But yeah, his daughter is also in a romance plot with the younger cop, and that's kind of going on as well.
I forgot about that.
Exactly. Like, this plot is just filled with so much stuff. I mean, the real estate thing is not connected to the alligator. You're right. You could take that out.
Tell the bit I did realise, when they're in the water in the boat with them because they're trying to.
Oh yeah.
They're trying to tranquilise it.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. We get some alligator hunters as well, don't we?
Kane Hodder returns.
And Kane Hodder returns. We actually see he acts in this.
Their segment as small. Like, I feel they kind of ran out of budget for this bit.
Yeah.
But they are a lot of fun.
Well, that sequence where they go into the sewers looking for the alligator, and yeah, you mentioned, even though it's called a mutation, this is not a mutated alligator. He's just big.
Yeah, he's just.
He doesn't look mutated.
Like, we've all seen videos from Florida, like these dinosaur-sized alligators and crocs do exist.
But these alligator hunters, they do manage to make a bomb, which the alligator eats. So the alligator literally becomes like a ticking time bomb. And I have it in my notes. I forgot I wrote this, but it just reminds me a bit of Croc from Peter Pan.
Yeah. What's he doing?
Yeah, so
something like that, isn't it?
Hook every time he knows when the croc is coming because he can hear the ticking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah. I think the mutation side of it comes from chemicals are dumped in a swamp, aren't they? So that's how they explain that the alligator is as big as it is.
For me, it doesn't make sense why they waited 11 years to do a sequel to this.
I don't understand why either.
Well, the first film it doesn't need a sequel. It does set up for one, but it's just a fun, schlocky monster movie with surprisingly better plot and characters than it deserves. The sequel is very much what you expect, like almost like direct to DVD sequels.
Yeah.
Like, But it's not even made direct to TV. It's made for TV.
Don't expect wonderful things. I'm not
I
expecting
got
anyone
enjoyment
to
out
track
of it,
this
but I have
down.
had no drive to rewatch the second one.
No.
It's lackluster, I think, is the best way to describe
It is, because the first one is a really decent film. The second one has its moments, but it is... the characters are a bit weaker. The plot is a little bit all over the place, and it's just less about the alligator.
Lot of off-screen kills.
A lot of off-screen kills, yeah.
Maybe that's a TV thing. Like, we just go to the 8 miniseries. Because this is a year after that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame. It's still, I had fun watching the second one.
They're both on Shudder.
Yeah. They are both on Shudder, so it's, fairly easy to watch it. But yeah, you watched the first one 3 times.
I've watched it 3 times this year.
And that probably won't be the only... we won't stop at 3.
I pushed for us to make a video on this because I want to... I like cheesy monster movies.
Well, we don't really get a lot of them anymore.
What is it? At some point, I really want you to watch Crawl.
I do
That
need
is
to
the
watch
best,
Crawl.
Crocs. Well, that is Crocs.
Yeah.
The best Croc-related movie we've had in a long time. It's really good.
Because prior to that, we had, Lake Placid was the most recent.
Yeah.
And that's going back to the 90s when that started. And obviously, the sequels kind of
Oh god, the sequels.
Yeah. But we
I can't talk about the sequels. Well, yeah, we kind of left monster movies behind, and
we have, yeah.
Now we have the MonsterVerse, like the Godzilla, King Kongs, with the kaiju type movies. And I'm like, no, I just want mutated alligators.
We want a big alligator havoc in a city, just I
want giant anacondas attacking a fishing boat.
That's what we want, guys. I mean, there's the scene where the alligator in the first film, where he does just leap out of the sewers and just cause absolute mayhem. That is a really cool shot.
Yeah.
Also reminiscent of when Bruce the shark in Jaws kind of jumps onto the orca, the boat, and starts just chomping away at Quint. There are similarities,
there
okay?
There are similarities.
We need to point them out. But Jaws is a classic for a reason.
Yeah. One thing I really like about when they are... Because they get the bomb in the first one with a timer on it.
Yes, yeah.
And he's trying to go up... The character's trying to go up through the sewage... what do you call them? The metal plates.
I don't know what you call them, but I know
to get into the sewers.
Yeah,
because
I know what you said.
We don't really have them here.
No, they're just an American thing.
Yeah, potholes.
Yeah.
Anyway, that just shows how my knowledge of the sewers works. A car parks on top of it, and he can't get out.
Yeah.
And it's quite a good tension build.
It is. The editing is good because it flashes from that to the bomb, and it's obviously time is ticking away. And it's oh my god, there's only 5 seconds left. He's got to get out.
Yeah. The love interest is trying to get the car to move, and she's not moving because there's a garbage truck in front of her. This is pretty tense, and the explosion that comes from it is awesome.
Yeah. I enjoyed Alligator a lot.
Yeah. See, way better than it has any right to be.
Exactly. It was a fun summer film.
42 years old, and it's
42 years old. It still holds up well.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was just fun.
But the sequel is, even though they spent 11 years, I imagine they were in the writers' room writing for ages, planning how they were going to make their big comeback.
Yeah, it just...
It totally wasn't a last-ditch idea, what rights do we have?
No.
It was just lackluster. And it's such a shame.
It is. It's it tries to, it goes into the corruption side of things like the first one does. It brings the alligator back, obviously the first one, but it just...
It literally brings back the footage from the first one.
Yeah, and the corruption just ultimately doesn't connect to the alligator story itself. It's a totally separate thread.
Really, what I wanted...
I don't
like with aliens, anacondas, I wanted alligators.
Alligators.
Multiple alligators.
I know. Well, yeah, I mean, the end of the first film... It does sort of leave it with, we see another little alligator flush down the toilet.
Is this a thing in America? Do you flush? I know it's maybe an urban legend, isn't it? Of alligators that have been flushed down toilets and that live in the sewers of New York and stuff.
I know it's a thing. I don't know because people flush dead fish down the toilet as well, don't they?
There's a difference between a little fish and a fucking
You just wouldn't do it. You just bottom line, you just wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
but it
must come from somewhere. So I imagine this is playing on some fear that Americans have.
What's that? The Skit and Family Guy with Chris and the fish. Is it?
It's remember that fish we flushed down the toilet? He wasn't dead. He's just got a gun to his head.
He got a gun to Chris's head. Yeah. So don't ever do that, guys. Yeah. Don't ever do that. I don't know if there's anything else I want to say for it. To be honest, though, I mean,
schlocky, monster fun.
Yeah, I mean,
Making the most of a small budget.
Yeah,
it's just fun with some really creative kills, and then 11 years later we got that.
The Mutation.
We got the Mutation. The police side of it alone would be perfectly fine. The problem is if you take the alligator out of it, the story doesn't change.
Yeah, I also think that the second one is just a bit cornier. Like the dialogue is a bit cheesy as well.
That's TV for you, though.
It's
and
TV.
Especially TV in the 90s.
Yeah. But I would happily rewatch
Things with the first one is
Alligator.
everyone is taking it so seriously.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, right, all these characters, like, they have a purpose, and, you know, like, everything connects together, and no one believes the cop, but the cop knows the truth, and, like, he's got to try and convince everyone. It's like, right, that works. There's tension there. We're building it up to a big crescendo. Second one is, nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. So,
first one, great. Second one,
great.
not so much.
Second one, not so great. But for some reason, that one has the better poster, and it's easier to get a Blu-ray of it.
Yeah, for some whatever reason.
Yeah, as you can tell, we really enjoyed it.
We invested in merch. That's how much we
not
like.
merch, a prop.
But we
You
invested.
will never find merch from the Alligator movies.
I'm gonna try.
You'll never do it.
Yeah, I am gonna try.
Trying to find a DVD or a Blu-ray is hard enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it's on Shudder at the minute.
It is.
If you don't have Shudder, you can rent it on Prime.
It's a fun summer watch.
It is. It's a good film. If you have a couple of friends around, just watch it with a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for stopping by, guys. We're probably coming to the end of
Summer. Season.
Well, this one, I know we're bad with knowing when these come out, but we actually don't know when this one's coming out because I haven't set a date for it.
No, we're hoping like September-ish time.
Yeah, so it could be the very, very end of summer.
Ideally, when it's still technically summer.
Yeah, but if not, then...
Oh, who the hell knows?
Who knows?
It's not safe to think about.
There's too many reviews coming out that we want to do that's
I
throwing the
know.
schedule in the flux. But yeah, it will come out, and we will be back, as always, next week. Don't flush your pets back down the toilet.
Never.
And don't feed them, accidentally feed them hormone experimented. I've kind of ruined that one, haven't I?
I thought you were going to say don't feed them after midnight.
Don't feed
And I
them
was like, that's a different
Don't feed
film.
them discarded pets filled with experimental hormones. That's what I was trying to say.
That's a tough one.
That's just a recipe for a bad time. Personally, I think he's more of a threat than Bruce and Jaws, mainly because he's got appendages. He can move.
He can move.
He can move on land.
He's got arms and legs.
Jaws is easy. You just leave the ocean.
You just get out of there.
Just get out of the water. Easy. Great. It's like, bye. He's going to follow you. I couldn't find if the alligator actually has a name or not in the film.
I don't think it does. I don't think they named him.
Yeah.
I know that even like behind the scenes, I don't think they gave him a name.
Is it Finding Nemo when they meet a shark, don't they?
Yeah, it's called
It's
Bruce.
called Bruce after
Jaws.
After Jaws, yeah.
But like Bruce, he's not called Bruce in the film.
That's the name of the shark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what like the Steven Spielberg and everyone named him just as a joke.
Yeah, so that's why we just named ours Carl.
For no reason.
No reason.
We don't even know a Carl.
Yeah. He just looks like a Carl.
Just looks like a Carl. Anyway,
I've rambled. Go watch it. If you want just something nice and easy to watch on a Friday night.
watch Alligator.
Watch Alligator. And maybe watch the sequel. It's lackluster, but you'll understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, we'll see you next week, guys.